Do you ever just play a game and then you go onto Twitter and you want to type something within the Twitter character limit, but you're not sure what to say because Twitter only responds to super positive or super negative about a game, but you feel right down the middle in regards to every aspect of this game outside of the gameplay? Yeah, you guessed it. I'm talking about Age of Imprisonment. Hey guys, Cyanize here. Bit late to this, I know, and I'm sure everybody wants me to talk about Kirby Air Riders, but I cannot buy the game right now because I need to save money for things, unfortunately. I have to be a responsible adult. That being said, I still do want to talk about Age of Imprisonment, whether people see it as a spin-off or not. It is a major Zelda title, and it is being marketed as the major story beats that were left out of Tears of the Kingdom. So I think it is a pretty important game, all things considered. That being said, I have yet to finish it because I've been very busy, but I do have a good like 8 hours into the game, and so I feel I have enough to say in regards to giving my full opinion here. That being said, I'm not a Zelda lore channel, so I can't really provide too much context on the lore, even though Tears of the Kingdom and Age of Imprisonment don't really have much in regards to lore for some reason. By the way, can we just talk about that? Does the Zelda series not care about their story much anymore? It seemed like at one point they did, but for Tears of the Kingdom and Age of Imprisonment, it feels like they just dropped the ball entirely. It felt like Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity was like rich with this lore and whatnot, but now Age of Imprisonment and Tears of the Kingdom are pretty light for the most part, and I feel like it's pretty easy to understand. It's not really as deep and complex as like the game wants you to think it is. I don't know, am I crazy for that? It's just something weird I noticed. But okay, before I get ahead of myself here, let's talk about the gameplay itself. Probably the best part about these games. A lot of people I know do not like the warrior style hack and slash gameplay, but I personally love it. I'm addicted to it. I love this stuff. It's like therapy to me, all right? But how is it? Is it good? Would you rather play this over the original Hyrule Warriors or Age of Calamity? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, though I will say playing this at 60 frames per second makes a world of difference. That's not really a feature in regards to this game. It's one of those things that we should have originally played these games at when we first got them. But needless to say, playing this at 60 frames per second is magical. Being able to play this with no frame stutters, yeah, I never want to go back. I really hope they give a Switch 2 update to Age of Calamity and Hyrule Warriors, the original. That would be so awesome because I don't think I could ever go back to those games now after playing this. But the technicals aside, Age of Imprisoment's combat is amazing. It's pretty much just like Age of Calamity for the most part, but it just feels refined. That's the whole word I would use to describe Age of Calamity's, or Age of Imprisoment's combat. Like the little combo thing that they added for each character to tell you what combos they can do or like what buttons to hold down, which is really appreciated as somebody who has memorized a lot of movesets across a lot of these Warriors games and doesn't really remember the movesets of a lot of these characters. So now the game will tell you outright what combos these characters can do, which I very much appreciate. A little change that they removed from Age of Calamity is that now instead of using the Sheikah Slate to activate whenever a prompt appears to do that, you now have these little abilities that each character can do. Depending on what a boss character does, you would have to react to it. You get like a shield special action. You could use like an uprise attack to an enemy jumping up from above. It's a good way of still having like the Sheikah Slate mechanic, but doing it in Age of Imprisoment's own way that's not really tied to the Sheikah Slate. I think it's really cool. I don't know if it's necessarily better per se, because each character in Age of Calamity did have a unique interaction with the Sheikah Slate, but nonetheless, I do think it is really cool. And alongside this like menu that you can pull up to use these special actions, you can replace some of these special actions with Zonai devices, and that's definitely where this game stands out for the most part. The constructs that you can summon from Tears of the Kingdom are awesome. It's really simplified compared to Tears of the Kingdom, of course. You can't just like, you know, build a giant machine with balls hanging off of it. But they still give you the tools you need and they simplify it a lot so that way you're able to utilize the whole system. Like if you just put a fan down and then put a like a zapping construct next to it, it's going to cause an electric tornado. It's really simple, really easy to understand, but once you get it, it's really easy to combo it with your character's moveset and you do a lot of damage and it's really cool. It's really cool to see rack up. So while again, it's not really as complex as Tears of the Kingdom, it is still pretty advanced for a Warriors game of all things. It is still pretty complex for a Warriors game. It stops the combat from getting old and stale pretty quickly, and I do really appreciate it a lot. It really helps to distinguish this Warriors game from the others. And speaking of things that this game does to distinguish itself from the other Warriors games, we have sync moves exclusive to this game. You can sync up with your allies in the middle of the fight to perform a unique sync move attack. And it's completely different depending on which character you are activating it, with so many different combos and moveset potential and ways to combo it into other moves. It is so fun. It is so cool. It's kind of hard to describe, but you'll see like a little button prompt next to your character with a little icon next to your guy signifying who you can do a sync strike with. And you do that sync strike with and you get get a cool little animation that you can control. Like, for example, if you do a team up with Zelda and Kia, Zelda will bring out her bow of light from Breath of the Wild, and Kia will summon a bunch of water bubbles, and you're able to shoot the water bubbles that explode upon impact. And it's so cool and it does a lot of damage. And speaking of the characters, yeah, this is where we're gonna get to the negatives. So when it came around to Age of Calamity, we were already super interested in these characters that we knew from Breath of the Wild, but we never got to experience or learn more about. And especially Mipha. I really liked Mipha before Breath of the Wild. And so having Age of Calamity expand her character even more for me, I was a huge fan. So when you take that away from Age of Imprisonment and you give us these characters that only show up for like 1 or 2 cutscenes in regards to the sages and whatnot, yeah, it's kind of hard to care about them. And I do understand that Nintendo did go out of their way in giving these characters names in the form of like the water sage here being named Kia, which unfortunately I have to say Age of Imprisonment doesn't really have that advantage though, because I just did not care for these characters in Tears of the Kingdom. When it came to Age of Calamity, I was already interested. I already had a hook onto these characters. So when I knew we were going to get more love for these characters in Age of Calamity, I was really excited. But Age of Imprisonment, I didn't care about the sages. Nobody cared about the sages. And yeah, it's great that they're going back and recontextualizing them and giving them names and personalities and whatnot. Kind of hard to win over my love and affection when you couldn't even do that the first time around. And yeah, sure, while I am willing to give this game a chance in regards to its characters, I think it really is important to distinguish the difference between these two, as I feel Age of Imprisoment's way of going about giving its characters character development really does hurt compared to Age of Calamity, where Age of Calamity already had a hook with Breath of the Wild. That being said though, the Mysterious Construct and Kalamo are now 2 of my favorite characters in the Zelda series. I mean, yeah, sure, the Mysterious Construct is just their BS way of trying to include Link into this game through a shard of the Master Sword going back in time with Zelda and powering up a construct, and then this random Korok finding him. But oh my goodness, man, I love their relationship so much. But it is kind of crazy how the construct copies the mannerisms of Link in almost every way because he is a blank slate. So it's almost as if Link is with us in the battle today. And also, shoutouts to the team for not making an annoying Korok. I'm sorry, I did not care about Hetsu at all. But Kalamo, oh, he's hilarious. Also, he's just really fun to play as. He has access to all the elements and whatnot. He can shoot like elemental berries at people. I think that's really cool. And now I do kind of want to talk about the story. I am not finished with the game, so I feel like I can't really give my full opinion. Though I do have to say this game is 100% canon compared to Age of Calamity. Fans of the Zelda series can play this game without any worry of like a split timeline and whatnot. Though that being said, and I know a lot of people are gonna, you know, see this as like, oh, we going back on an opinion and on a stance as we all collectively had as fans of this series about Age of Calamity, and now we're going to say, oh, we wanted a twist ending. Like, don't get me wrong, I do appreciate that it is canon, but also because Age of Calamity wasn't canon at the very end, but everything else in regards to its world building was, it did give some extra lore while also being its own thing. And it allowed for some cute character moments like Sidon interacting with Mipha finally after Sidon had to deal with the trauma of losing his sister. Hell, there was even a chance for Zelda to warn everybody about the incoming danger, but Sonya was like, oh no, we manipulate time. We can't share the future with anybody. That's dangerous. Like, I'm not saying for the ending to be altered here, but this is your chance to show off some things that we couldn't possibly see through the flashbacks of Tears of the Kingdom. And speaking of, I feel like this game plays it incredibly safe. Like, this game takes place like thousands and thousands of years into the past, and yet we have no explanation for like Sheikah technology, the Great Calamity War that happened 10,000 years ago, talked about in Breath of the Wild, that this series likes to pretend never happened because Ganondorf is now a thing. And while you can see that some of the map is different compared to Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity because this does take place thousands of years in the past, I feel like more geological structures would be a lot different compared to what we're getting here. Like, I don't know, I'm not really an environmental artist. I wouldn't be able to properly portray a possible time skip that is 10,000-ish plus years into the past. Age of Calamity had a lot more leg room. It was 100 years, and 100 years is a lot of time, but I feel like there was a lot of leg room with that to make it similar to Breath of the Wild, so you didn't have to change too much. And look, I'm not asking them to go back and change every single model compared to Tears of the Kingdom into now. I know that's a lot of work, but oh my goodness, there's no way that some of these bokoblins look the exact same 10,000 plus years into the future compared to now. I mean, you're telling me that no evolution at all happened to these creatures in between this gap between Tears of the Kingdom and this game? And it makes it more confusing with Breath of the Wild when Breath of the Wild didn't have things like these tree stump enemies to go around. And so you really have to suspend your your disbelief when this game is saying, oh yeah, this is the great imprisoning war that happened way back when, and everything that you see now eventually will reappear in Tears of the Kingdom, but did not show up at all for Breath of the Wild, when Breath of the Wild literally took place 6 years before Tears of the Kingdom. Negatives aside though, the gameplay is really fun. Is it $70 fun? No, it probably won't be. And the majority of these games are not worth $70, but unfortunately we are in a $70 world. I feel like I've ranted about that a lot, but alas, I do have to ask the question and let you guys know my opinion, and I do not think this game is worth $70. But that's about all I got in regards to Age of Imprisonment. Let me know what you guys think about the game if you guys have been playing it. I'm gonna go back to play more of it because I feel like I need to actually be able to finish it so I can form a proper opinion about it when I make my full media video at the end of this year. Stay hydrated, stay cool, and I will see you all in another video. Bye-bye!